Just want to remind you guys, this episode is presented by Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, we are back within 2 minutes of uploading that last video talking about Cameron Bynum and all the other news day one. Ballard is not done. The Indianapolis Colts make another big move in the secondary as well, signing former 49ers cornerback Charvarius Ward. The Indianapolis Colts sign him on a 3-year, $60 million deal with $35 million of it guaranteed. And I think there's a $20 million signing bonus as well if he plays through the entirety of the 3 years and has some other things that go along with it. Cody, holy cow, this is day one. What is going on in Indianapolis right now? We're thinking Chris Ballard might have been abducted by aliens and they put a new brain in him and just decided this is the new way of doing things, because this is not the Chris Ballard that we're used to seeing, Cody. This is 2 big splash moves to improve this secondary. What is your reaction to this?
Yeah, Derek, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm completely shocked at this point because this is not the Chris Ballard that we know. This is not Chris Ballard.
This is not Chris Ballard.
I mean, Derek, the move they made earlier today was the highest he's ever paid any outside free agent. And not only do they do that, they go and add a second high-value free agent. That's crazy to me that they did that, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about a 3-year deal up to $60 million, Derek, that's $20 million the Colts are paying to Charvarius Ward over the next 3 years. That's unheard of from Chris Ballard. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately shocked that the Colts did this. Now, Derek, talk about a legitimate upgrade. I mean, holy cow. Going from Juju Brents / Jalen Jones as your number one corner to Charvarius Ward, who was an all-pro in 2023. I mean, massive upgrade. It's crazy how big of an upgrade this is, Derek. And when Charvarius Ward is right, Derek, he's one of the best corners in football. I mean, There's no sugarcoating that, right? So look at the massive overhaul that you have already done in your secondary. You signed Cameron Bynum, who's coming off a career year. He's only 26 years old. You know, he's a young ascending player. And then you bring in Charvarius Ward, who has that potential, Derek, I think, be the best corner you've had since Vontae Davis. Yeah. I really do believe that. And that was back in 2013, 2014. It's been a decade, Derek. You needed to make a swing at corner. The Colts have not had a shutdown corner in a long, long time. They haven't. Stephon Gilmore would be the closest thing, and he was 32. So Charvarius Ward, Derek, he's only 28 years old. So you think you sign him through the next couple of years. He's going to be 31 by the time his contract is expired. He's still fairly young at this point. Not as young as some other guys, but Derek, he is by far the most accomplished corner on the market. I mean, there's no doubt. He's the guy that I think just fits like a glove into what the Colts do on defense. Just a phenomenal signing by the Colts. And I'm just so personally, Derek, as much crap as we've given Ballard, good for Chris Ballard to go out swinging. I mean, seriously, we knew that, like, what has been the MO? Bargain bin Ballard, right? He hasn't done anything. He hasn't paid guys. Yep. And we heard all this stuff last year about how the Colts ran on all these other guys, right? But they let it slip through their fingertips. They let it slip through the cracks. They didn't do anything. They were content. Well, it's obvious this year, Derek, with the moves the Colts made in their secondary and their defensive staff, and now the 2 moves they made in free agency, they are not content. And I'm thankful for that. I'm glad that they finally realized, hey, we can't be relying on 7th-round picks and 2nd-round picks that can't stay on the field. We got to get legitimate guys in here to improve this secondary. Derek, we talked about it with Gus Bradley. As much as Gus Bradley, I think, deserved to be fired, the Colts did him a major disservice at the personnel they did not provide him. And it's very obvious that Chris Ballard, Shane, all these guys involved, they wanted to give Lou Anarumo as much talent in that secondary as they possibly could. So I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that, man. And there's obviously this huge emphasis. And Derek, I mean, my gosh, like those are the two biggest needs on defense.
Yeah.
You filled with very good to elite level players. When's the last time the Colts have had those type of players in their secondary? I can't tell you.
No.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, dude. It's a lot of money. A lot of money being spent right now.
$35 million between those two.
Regardless of whether or not you think it's overpay or not, remember, what did we say? Ballard is on the hot seat because, again, he has neglected to put people in place to allow this team to build in one of the most essential parts of a defense, and that's the secondary, and a lot of other things. And now, in day one of free agency, not only goes out and gets one of the highest, not only goes and gets the most, spends the most money that he ever has in the history of his tenure here in free agency getting Bynum, he does the exact same thing 3 hours later and gets Charvarius Ward. I mean, what a incredible job that Ballard has done. Bargain bin Ballard is no more, ladies and gentlemen. He went out and he made moves. And it's not even for guys that, and Cody, the interesting thing about these two is these aren't just two like no name or guys that were big names and then they just kind of went off over the edge of a cliff and Ballard is still trying to give them big money. These are two guys that are still in their prime. These are semi-young players that have been in the league for a few years and have played at very good levels. Yeah. And so this is very different than anything Ballard has done before. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm just like you. I'm in shock. I can't believe it.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is the ultimate. Like, we set ourselves for such low expectations because of what happened last year in the last couple of years, and all of a sudden he comes out swinging. Man, it's a great surprise. It's a great surprise. So I'm very thankful for this dude. And Charvarius Ward, like you said, he's the cream of the crop here at corner. I mean, you would say, Derek, that him and Cameron Bynum were two of the best available players in free agency at their respective positions. You would say that, right? And that is absolutely true. So, man, I'm so excited to have him here. I'm so excited to have a true number one corner for the next 3 years and a legitimate guy with a proven track record.
Yeah.
Because, Derek, the other corners the Colts have brought in the past that have played well really have only been, guys that have past their prime, right? They're the 30-plus-year-olds. Charvarius Ward's not that. He's a guy still very much in his prime that's hungry for another opportunity. And Derek, 2023 showed you he can be one of, if not the best corners in football when he is right.
As we said, guys, today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. Now, what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Instead of battling against thousands of other players across platforms, you're basically picking 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're choosing more or less on those stat projections to be able to watch those winnings roll in. It's very easy. Do you guys want to play along at some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and UFC fighter Sugar Sean O'Malley? Well, if you guys sign up today, you can find the community plays under the promos tab of the app to view the entries of some of the biggest names on the platform and be a part of that as well. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 just like that with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Like a lot of other things, guys, they also offer injury insurance, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. So if someone exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays live. So it's great bounce back for that one. What I love about the app as well, guys, is it's not just sports like NBA, NHL, football, and tennis, and baseball, and all these other things, but there's also a lot of others that go into it as well. If you like to place entries on video game situations like Call of Duty, CS2, Apex, if that's something that appeals to you. There's a wide variety of sports and video games and everything else that you can place entries on. And I love how expansive it is. Even just looking at the NBA, there's entries you can make with turnovers, with points. You can do combo deals, dunks, field goals attempted, all of these different things. So there's just so many different ways to make money off of these entries. Be sure to download the app today and use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. The great thing too about this is, you know, you have his former teammate in Samuel Womack on this team. Womack sharing his very much happiness about Charvarius Ward coming here. No doubt about that. And I mean,
I got a stat here, Derek, for you.
Yeah.
So since 2022, Charvarius Ward is a 6th graded corner in coverage grade and tied for 8th in forced incompletion. So an absolute elite of elite type of player, especially recently.
Talent's sake, dude, I think this might be one of the most talented corners that you've ever seen come through this organization, like all time. Like I know he hasn't done anything on the field yet for us, but I'm talking about just like in pure talent. There are very few Colts corners that have ever matched the talent and production level of this guy. So if he can be anything like that, that's huge.
The Colts have never. I can't think of the last time they ponied up for an elite corner like this. Like they got Stephon Gilmore a couple years ago, but Derek, he was on the wrong side of 30. Like they haven't done something like this where they pay a corner $20 million since I can remember. I mean, even Vontae Davis. That was a 2nd round pick, I believe, back in 2012, right? Like this is different. This is a different type of move here for the Colts defense. And talk about a completely rebuilt secondary in only one day. That's crazy to me that the Colts were able to do this. But dude, I mean, this is a big year for everybody involved. So if you're gonna swing, you better swing. And so I'm
he's swinging, bro.
Finally got the bat off the shoulders. You know,
he is swinging. He is swinging for the fences. And all I hope is whatever quarterback, if it's Anthony Richardson or whoever it is this year, plays even remotely decently, this team could be a problem. And I will say this, Cody, obviously a great move, Charvarius Ward. And I will in no way, shape, or form complain about how much money you gave him. Obviously, at this point, Ballard has spent a good amount of cap space in the first day. So now the Indianapolis Colts are going to have to make some hard decisions. You know, it's going to be tough now at this point. I don't know how much cap they actually have at this moment. It says $35 million on Spot Track, but then again, that doesn't include the Charvarius Ward contract details.
How much was it? Sorry.
And what was it?
How much did you say?
35, but that doesn't include the 20 million that Charvarius Ward's going to get.
15 roughly.
So 15, but I don't know if that includes the Braden Smith details yet. I don't think that's included yet. So you're probably going to have about 20 to 23 million in cap right now. So you don't have a ton of room left after that.
Unless you restructure, you can still restructure
some deals, which I think at this point, some guys like maybe DeForest Buckner, maybe there could be a Quentin Nelson thing. There could be, I don't know. There's a couple different ways that the Indianapolis Colts can restructure a few deals this year to give them an extra $10 to $15 million in cap to allow them to still make more moves. Now, as far as big moves go, I don't know where this puts us now. This might have taken us out of the Trey Hendrickson pipeline at this point, but I'm not sure yet. But
there's always ways to make it happen, you know?
Oh, there 100% is. I mean, you could 100% have a situation where if Ballard can move $20 million more from some of these deals, from some of these contracts, and you could still get Hendrickson. And then that could still be a thing. I doubt we will make it happen at this point, but it could. There is a possibility.
I never thought we'd get 2 DBs and pay $35 million per year on 2 guys in day one. So you never know at this point, man. Anything's up in the air right now, I guess, because this is not the Chris Ballard that we knew last year in the last couple of years. This is a different type of Chris Ballard, and I love it, man. I love it. That's what you need to do, man. Get some proven guys in here, not just rely on some of these young guys. You have those young guys now, but you also have, I think you have a nice combination of some young guys and some vets in there now, Derek.
Yep.
Now you really like your safety room when it comes to your 2 starters. Now, still could probably add another guy or 2 in there in terms of depth. Corner, I don't think you have to worry about corner anymore, Derek. So
unless you're drafting one. Like you could draft one later in the draft.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But on like day one, that eliminates free safety.
You now have a day 1 number 1 corner, and you have a day 1 number 1 safety. So that's great.
That helps position-wise, because now what are the needs? Tight end, potentially defensive line. It's Chris Ballard. You never know. Linebacker. I mean, could you throw in Derek and edge? I don't know. Maybe. You never know when it comes to Chris Ballard, but it definitely helps you identify now, okay, here are some positions we really need to address. And Derek, to me, this kind of points maybe the Colts are looking to add a tight end, in the draft. That's kind of what it points to me there when it comes to that. And again, who knows, Derek? Like we said, you can work the cap space. You can figure some stuff out here. There maybe is still some more signings to go. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to be a big swing anymore, but who knows at this point with what Chris Ballard's doing. So we'll see, man, but absolutely a massive upgrade here. This is a complete rebuild of this secondary, and adding 2 players that are Pro Bowl and all pro talents. That's crazy, man.
That's crazy. Wild, dude. I thought after Cameron Bynum, I didn't think there was any way possible we were going to get Charvarius Ward. But supposedly Charvarius Ward was Ballard's number 1 free agent target that he was trying to get. And that's it, man. I mean, that's incredible. It's awesome to see that regardless if it was too much, regardless of anything, Ballard made the big move. Whether it works, whether it doesn't matter. We asked Ballard to make a change and be more aggressive. Certainly did not expect this. This is something different.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's refreshing. This is like almost making up for all those years we just sat back and watched on day one for almost a decade. This is nice, man. It's nice to feel like we actually are in and actually trying to improve this roster. It's been a while since we've truly felt that way. So, it's a refreshing feeling. I'll just say that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts signing Charvarius Ward, the second big piece to this secondary. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.